Picture this. You've poured hours of sweat into your lawn all summer long, only to watch it turn into a patchy yellow mess the very next spring. Frustrating, right? Well, welcome to today's explainer. Today, we are unlocking the absolute best-kept secrets of lawn care. We're going to dig into the exact science and the step-by-step techniques you need to completely transform your grass into a thick, resilient, deep green carpet. But before we get to the actual how-to, I have to ask you a question that literally divides the whole gardening community. Think about it for just a second. Which season do you think is the absolute most critical for fertilizing and feeding your grass? I mean, most people instantly picture those warm, blooming spring months, right? Well, here's the really surprising truth. It is not spring, it is absolutely autumn. I know it overturns everything we usually think about lawn care. While spring is great for that quick burst of green, autumn is actually the fundamental phase where your lawn's long-term health, its winter survival, and next year's beauty are totally determined. So yeah, that old myth that lawns just go to sleep from September to March, completely busted. Okay, let's dive into this explainer and check out our roadmap for today. We're going to cover why autumn matters, the NPK secret, choosing a fertilizer, how to fertilize, common mistakes, and we'll wrap it up with a quick Q&A and summary. Section 1, Why Autumn Matters. So, when the weather cools down, grass behaves very differently. The easiest way to think about cool season grasses, stuff like ryegrass, fescue, or bluegrass, is actually to imagine a hibernating bear. When the temperature drops and the days start getting shorter, the grass realizes, uh-oh, winter is coming. So it intentionally stops growing its green hair, those leafy blades up top. Instead, all those photosynthesized sugars and carbohydrates are pushed straight down to store food in its body, the root system, and the crown. By feeding the grass right now, you are essentially packing that bear with the energy reserves it desperately needs to survive freezing temperatures. Plus, it guarantees a quick, explosive green-up the exact moment spring arrives. Section 2. The NPK secret. Now, knowing that the grass is behaving differently means we have to feed it differently. If you've ever stared at a bag of fertilizer, you've definitely seen these 3 letters and numbers. It can honestly look like a complex chemistry equation. But I promise, we're going to make it super easy. The crucial point here is just understanding what these 3 letters actually do for your yard. N stands for nitrogen. Nitrogen is your leaf grower. It gives you that rapid, bright green shoot growth. P is for phosphorus, which stimulates the development of a really deep, strong root system. And K, that is potassium, and it acts as your ultimate winter shield. Potassium strengthens the plant's cell walls, it regulates water inside the tissues, and this is the cool part. It basically acts like an antifreeze, so the cells don't dehydrate and burst when the ground freezes over. Let's put this into perspective. Compare a typical spring fertilizer to an autumn one. A spring bag might be a 30-10-10. That's a massive hit of nitrogen for explosive green growth. But a fall bag? It's going to look a lot more like 14-5-21. Notice that? It still has some nitrogen, because your grass absolutely needs it to store reserve proteins, but the potassium is dialed way, way up to harden those roots for winter. Whatever you do, do not use your leftover spring fertilizer right before winter. If you push 30% nitrogen in November, you are going to force the grass to grow soft, watery, young shoots that will literally be destroyed by the very first winter frost. Section 3. Choosing a fertilizer. So, how does this NPK formula play out in the real world? Well, when you're picking a product, you often run into the whole organic versus synthetic debate. Organic options are incredible for long-term soil health, for sure, but they rely on soil microbes to break them down, and that process happens much, much slower as temperatures drop in autumn. That is exactly why synthetic professional blends are so highly recommended for late-season applications. They offer really precise nutrient control. Let's look at a few examples. First is Landscaper Pro Pre-Winter at 14-5-21. What makes this one special is its slow-release polymer coating. It feeds your lawn over 4 to 5 months. And get this, it's temperature activated. When it gets too cold, it just stops releasing, which prevents root burn. Pretty smart. Then we have Lactofall Autumn at 15-10-10. This one is fantastic for earlier in the fall when your lawn is super stressed from summer heat and just needs a fast-acting recovery boost. And finally, Phoenix Premium Autumn at 13-0-26. Notice the 0 for phosphorus, but a massive 26 for potassium. This is your maximum winter strength formula. Applying this late in the season gives your lawn an ultimate suit of armor against the deepest freezes. Section 4. How to fertilize. Okay, choosing the product is only half the battle. How and when you actually put it in the ground makes all the difference.
Timing is literally everything here, and your strategy needs to evolve as autumn progresses. In September, the soil is still pretty warm. This is your first feeding window to help the grass bounce back from summer heat stress. Moving into October, we enter the deep root feeding phase. Actually, this is also the absolute perfect time to aerate your soil. Finally, late October into November, that is all about final dormancy prep, delivering that heavy dose of potassium right before the ground freezes solid.
When you're ready to get out there and do the physical work, just follow these 4 simple steps. First, mow the lawn. You'll want to leave it a bit on the shorter side, right around 5 to 7 centimeters. Second, aerate or verticut. You gotta pull up that dead organic thatch so your fertilizer can actually make contact with the soil. Third, apply the fertilizer, but you must use a mechanical spreader. And fourth, this is huge, you have to water the lawn thoroughly immediately after. That water activates the granules, dissolves them, and washes them off the sensitive grass blades straight down into the root zone where they can do their job. Section 5. Common mistakes. Listen, you could buy the most expensive fertilizer on the planet, but if you make these common rookie errors, you can ruin your lawn in a single afternoon. Our first major warning? Never, ever throw mineral fertilizer granules by hand. Just grabbing a handful and tossing it like you're feeding chickens. Doing this creates little pockets of immense chemical concentration. Those heavy salts will literally suck the water right out of the grass cells, causing severe chemical burns. Your lawn will end up looking like a leopard with yellow spots everywhere. The only real solution is to use a mechanical rotary or drop spreader. It's the only way to get a perfectly even light distribution. Here is another critical metric you need to lock in: 5 degrees Celsius. So why is this specific number so important? Well, once your soil temperature drops below 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, cool season grass goes into full-blown winter dormancy. The roots just shut down completely. They totally stop absorbing nutrients. If you're out there spreading fertilizer after the soil is already this cold, you are quite literally throwing your money away, and all those nutrients will just wash right into the groundwater. You've got to beat the freeze.
Section 6, Q&A and Summary.
Let's clear up some common beginner anxieties with a rapid-fire Q&A based on the top questions from lawn care pros. First up, what if you just planted new grass seeds this fall? Well, you definitely don't want to blast brand new baby grass with heavy winter fertilizer right away. Instead, wait until it's grown strong enough to be mowed at least 3 times. Moving on to number 2, what about your dogs and cats? If you're putting down mineral fertilizers, the golden rule is to keep your furry friends off the grass for a full 24 hours. And make sure you've heavily watered the lawn so all those granules are completely dissolved. Third question, what is the real danger of using too much nitrogen in late fall? It's a nasty fungal disease called snow mold. If you force soft, watery growth right before it snows, that lack of air combined with high moisture under the snowpack makes your grass super easy prey for this fungus. So, to wrap this whole thing up, here are your absolute essential takeaways. Remember our hibernating bear? Autumn is entirely about building a massive, deep root system, not about growing tall green leaves. Always, always check the bag for high potassium, that's your K number, to give your lawn its winter armor. Never throw granules by hand, a spreader is non-negotiable. And finally, water your lawn immediately after you apply the fertilizer to push those vital nutrients straight down into the soil. I want to leave you with this one thought. When the snow falls this year and completely blankets your yard, what's actually happening underneath? Is your lawn safely fortified, packed with nutrients, and prepared to survive the freeze? Or is it starving, weak, and totally vulnerable under all that snow? The actions you take right now, this autumn, are exactly what will give you the answer next spring. Just a quick professional heads up before you rush to the garden center. Always consider your specific local climate and figure out whether you have cool season or warm season grass. Honestly, the absolute best first step is doing a quick soil test so you know exactly what nutrients you're actually missing. And of course, if you're ever unsure, just consult a local lawn care professional in your area. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Get out there, prep that soil, and I can pretty much guarantee you'll have the absolute greenest yard on the block next year.